Well, hi everybody. Once again, we're sitting down here in front of Reboot Social in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, having a conversation on a bench with folks who actually want to be intentional in their calling and their efforts in their yes to try to help folks that might be hurting, homeless, addicted, unhoused, in any way, shape, or form that we can try to be part of the solution. And so I actually have an incredible gentleman sitting with me right now, and he is, he kind of amazes me every day, and Mike getting in the trenches. And so one of my fellow team members, Mike, we're going to get hit with noise here for just a second, but we're going to be talking to Mike, and we're going to take it another step further as soon as the truck passes. Well, now we can really go live because now we can hear each other. So that's good. But Mike is actually in the trenches with our residents pretty much on a day in, day out basis. Mm-hmm. He's one of our key team leaders in our program. And so, Mike, I would really love to have the folks that are listening and the folks that are around us learn what your why is and like why you're sitting here with me on the bench today.
Yeah, I started this job about 11 years ago, working with the homeless, working with the single men and single women with us that come and stay with us. I've had a heart for this population for many, many years. I used to have a different profession where I was an electrician, and I felt like God was leading me to go back to school and learn about addiction and recovery, and then ministry work, and really start trying to figure out what the needs are, not just what people said they are, but really what it is that leads people into homelessness and keeps them trapped there.
Was a Hope Gospel Mission one of your first mission type jobs when you felt that call, or were you doing something else downtown that I don't know about, or what?
I did. I started off in the jail ministry here in Eau Claire, and I was volunteering there for about 5 years, actually. Wow. And
just like John Eiley.
Yeah, sort of through that, I'd learned a lot more about the population because there's a lot of overlap there.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I always wanted to work for Hope Gospel Mission, I knew they existed.
Yeah.
And then when the opportunity opened up, I jumped at it. And I love this job. This is what I've always wanted to do.
Well, that's why we're all here, right? Our yes, and we've had community members stop down and feed us today. We've had people give us coffee or donuts, and I think that's an extended way for them to say, I support you, right? Yeah. But we have a whole lot of ways inside our ministry as well that people can step into. But before we kind of get to that, as we get deeper into the interview, I guess I kind of want to know what do you see from someone that stops in to be interviewed, to make sure that they're safe enough to come into the environment of the current residents we serve. But what happens to them on day 1 versus day 30 versus day 100? Can you talk to us about that shift, that change, or what happens to that sweet person that comes in?
Yeah, that's a good question. Absolutely. Whenever anybody comes in, they're in a crisis. And the crisis of homelessness is traumatic, and it's a form of trauma that they're experiencing. So when they come in, we have to balance trying to figure out if they're appropriate for our facility, and if we can meet their needs, right, as well as the compassion and hospitality and understanding. And so, once that's determined and we're able to bring them in and to begin to show them that care and compassion, allow them to start to rest and recover from their homeless experience. We need to give them that time and space to do that. And then once that's done, it's usually over a few days, maybe even longer. We start to get them into programming and get them into counseling and make sure that all their doctor's appointments and stuff are met, are up to date. And then once they're really stabilized, we sort of move into sort of the next level, which is trying to go back and engage them at where those hurts are.
Yeah.
And the hard places that they came from and the experiences that they've been through, and help them make sense of that, because really that's what they come in with, is a lot of confusion, a lot of broken relationships, and an inability to connect until they feel safe again.
And it's kind of like symbolically, we talk about sometimes peeling away that layer of the onion, right?
Yeah.
Because if the infection sits inside that, or if it's sitting under our skin, right?
Yeah.
Unless we treat that, unless we get to the bottom of that, it's just going to fester again.
Yeah.
And so we know that people come in to us with all kinds of layers of needs and things. And sometimes, and you know, we're partnering with the Haven House, but sometimes they might think they want one day of a resource. They might want 1 week. They might want a short-term stay or an emergency stay, but our desire too for them, if that's what they're ready for and want, is to do the whole person, right? Can you just quickly, and I know you and Chris can rattle these off, there's 8 or 9 different components. Can you just tell us what those are?
Yeah, we try to help break it down for them and develop goals in 8 different areas: mental health, life skills, AODA, nutrition and fitness, financial, spiritual, and one I always forget, probably academic.
Yes, okay, beautiful. Yep, absolutely. And I was actually interviewing a current resident yesterday, and she said, you know what, one thing I'd like to tell the folks listening, or a potential resident, is you don't have to be afraid of the faith component. Nobody shoves it down your throat. We have the word gospel in our name because it's pure and biblical and it's beautiful. But nobody says you have to do this or you must do this in order to be here. As a matter of fact, it's like, that's your personal journey.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with you being granted a spot inside the mission. And so I just really want the public to know that's a misnomer. And
it is.
And we want to be able to share that with the residents. And I think one of the ways we can also teach more individuals that is because we're partnering with the Haven House and the Day Resource Center, that they'll get to know that a little earlier on, I think, and maybe not be quite so afraid to apply for a more stable long-term opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't in any way hide the fact that we're a Christ-centered ministry, but we also recognize that, you know, God doesn't force himself on anyone.
Right.
And it's not our job to make anybody or believe anything that they don't want to believe.
Yeah, and not religion, it's relationship, right? Because I hear that term thrown around, and that's like a term of old, really. I mean, it's really not, it's really about relationship, not just the religiosity, as some people like to call it. And so I would really encourage anybody that's interested or that might have a loved one that really is in need. We just would encourage you to come learn more about Hope Gospel Mission. But really what today is all about, and what last night was all about, is letting folks know in the community and in Western Wisconsin that there are a lot of unhoused friends. And how can we journey with them for even that one day, or meeting them on the street and just letting them feel heard, like we did overnight last night. There was quite a bit of that, and it was pretty incredible. Some of it was very hard, but it was still very incredible. And so are there any thoughts that you would like to share that you might want to just toss out there for two different groups of people? One who may be considering working in and around some type of ministry like this, and for folks who feel that they just don't know what they could do to offer their services, both voluntarily or donating or whatever. Can you just come from those two different angles, those groups of people? Employees and servants.
I think if you're looking to serve the community, to serve the homeless population, figure out what you're good at, you know, and find a way to connect in that area, because I guarantee that if you do that, you will be blessed by that. You'll feel a sense of purpose that just energizes you. And so
truly.
if you have questions about that and how maybe even you want to help out, like using your gifts or abilities or talents at Hope Gospel Mission, reach out to our website and take a look at volunteer opportunities or current work positions that are in place.
And as we grow, there always seems to be that need, right? We're growing. God is doing a new thing in and around Hope Gospel Mission, in and around Eau Claire, in and around the downtown area. There's so many people that need us. There's so many people that need a service, a touch from the Lord. And we're ready, willing, and able. So we're so grateful for those folks tuning in this morning, right in front of Reboot Social here, downtown Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And we're going to keep going throughout the day until 2 o'clock, our 24 hours conversations on a bench.
Wow.